Hey guys, welcome. This is The Process. My name is Dr. John Bush. We are lesson 38, team analysis part 4. So that probably means you need to go back and listen to the previous parts, right, to get up to speed. So I'll wait. I'm always here. Come back for you. Uh, and the whole point of this is to help you win your fantasy football drafts. In my experience over the years, it's about 60% of the show, and that's a pretty significant bit, and you can't piss away your opportunities by goofing around. You need to be dead serious about this stuff. Okay, so assuming you've got lessons 1, 2, 3, then we will continue with 4, and we're going to focus on kind of an overview of the teams, and this is just kind of a cheat sheet. And the dark green is the teams that did the best, the top 8, as far as total fantasy point averages here. So that would be Arizona, Buffalo, Detroit, Kansas City, the Rams, Minnesota, Seattle, and Tampa Bay. So that would be the top, and then the bottoms are Cincinnati, Denver, Jacksonville, New England, the Jets, the Giants, Philadelphia. So take a look just as a reference, and remember we talked about aspects of good teams last year versus what does it mean for this year. And there was some really interesting results in the first 3 parts. So I wanted to get a little deeper with the running backs, with that context of running backs, some good teams versus bad teams, right? So this is running back here. And this just shows the running back distribution from 2013 to 2020 as far as fantasy points produced. And I just graphed all that, blue dots, and that was look at the different levels here of good teams, bad teams, worse teams, that kind of thing. And the best teams are in here. Okay, so it's the best. So from 2013 to 2020, the best teams had really nice running backs that were producing good points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Not bad. The above average teams were here. Notice the drop. They only had one significant running back. So right away, that gets my attention. And notice the below average and then the worst. So we're talking a significant drop here in the worst and below average. So you really want to stay towards the better teams. So can we predict the better teams from last year's? I think I got some hints in the other parts. I think there is some suggestions that you can have some predictions that will give you a leg up. It's not just like set blood, okay? But it's a great start if you look at the distribution here. And the dash line is just the moving average. I just wanted to kind of see the patterns, and you can see the tops are dropping down pretty much. Worst and below average about the same. So if you're grabbing running backs from here, these teams, you've got a disadvantage. So you just need to come at terms with that and live with it. So I then split all the running backs based on their fantasy point pecking order. Okay, fantasy point pecking order from the teams that were the best, above average, below average, and worst. So that's the team type. And we look at the top running back, and you're saying, oh, what we got here? Well, we got 226 and 220 for the tops, and notice the worst at 170. So people say, oh, I'll take the number one running back from the crappy team. That's cost you seasonally 50-something points. So a couple points per week, something like that. So you got to make it up somewhere. Okay, so just be aware of that. Look at the wide receiver running back twos, still a little bit, but now these guys are closer. Not much difference here, not much here. Running back fours, and so forth. So those are the numbers, but I think percentages are better. So I looked at each category and figured out the top versus the average. So here's the grand total, 202, and I wanted to know how the running back ones fared on average, the average of all 32 teams across 2013 to 20. So you're getting 12% above average staying with the best teams, 9%. So there's really not a big difference. Notice you're costing yourself 5 to 16% digging in the crappier teams. Rut-row. You can look at wide receiver twos. It's not as dramatic. Certainly the worst teams, you're still costing yourself 20 points. And kind of interesting, the below average versus the above average. Starts to get muddled here at this point. So just take a look at that. I think there's some key here. I'm not going to get so deep into that. I took account injuries and whatnot as well. So I think that's very interesting. If we look at a pattern across the top running back versus the seventh running back, some teams didn't even have that many running backs. I counted all of them. And here's the best in green. Here, and notice you're kind of playing out by the running back fours. So some people say, oh, I want all running backs from the best teams. I'm not buying that. I'm looking at the top three. Okay, certainly the top one. But notice above average here. Okay, and we're starting to see a little gap right here. But that disappears from 3 to 4. That was intriguing to me, that these above average teams had some nice deeper running backs compared to the other types of teams. So is that something in best balls and whatnot we should be looking at? I'm going to be thinking about that. I think that's very intriguing. Come draft day, you probably should parse out those running back fours and deeper and look for those that are in the above average teams who figure to be above average but not the best, right? So ninth through whatever that eighth is, what is that, 16th? Yeah, ninth through the 16th. Okay, worst. Really, I'm staying away. I understand there's some depth here at 6 and 7, but you're not getting any points. Staying away, and notice those guys are really costing you And you're not even breaking even till maybe what, the fourth. I'm staying away. I mean, I guess with, if you're taking 6 or 7 running backs in a best ball, you might find some advantages there. So I haven't laid this on top of best ball. That's probably for future work, or now that I'm putting it in public. I'm sure there are those that are just looking for something to do. Well, here you go, folks. All you would-be data folks, let the professor pave the way and you can go collect. Good luck to you. Send me a postcard when you say thanks for all this good stuff you're raining down above us. Hey, this is fun. I love the data myself. This exciting to me. Okay, I know some people are into right now I'm recording this in the middle of the draft here. Everybody's excited. I'm looking at the data. So it's just not my thing. Okay, I wait till it's all said and done, then I apply my data. Okay, so I'm working my process. That's why it's called the process. Okay. So looking at wide receiver ones in the best to the worst, and you can see that I think the top 16 teams are probably worthy of you drafting their wide receiver one. Notice the gap here in the top in the below average, and look at the top here with the worst. So you're saying, well, 3 running backs. I understand. What is that? 7 years? Come on now. Yeah, there's always some. I'll find that sleeper. Well, the stats say most likely this is what you're going to find in here, in this level. And you can find that out here. So, but it's just nice to see that distribution. What about statistically, what I just showed you, is that real? Or can we even hang our hat on any of this stuff? Here's the means from the top 8 last year teams, 9 through 16, 17 through 24th. This is last year now. Looking at this year, 170. Like I said, 56 points. That ought to be different. Let's see. Let's see if stats say it's different. Holy mackerel, yes, there is some differences. Sweet. Okay, anybody that does any kind of stats in fantasy data knows anytime you find real world stats that are pointing you to something that you can hang your hat on, that's a victory. So you wonder, Dr. Bush, how come you win so many leagues and make money? Cause I do the process. That's why. Yeah, it's a lot of effort. I chop the wood, then I get my fire. Okay, folks, I think I've said this before. Yeah, I know. You want the fire, you'll promise to chop the wood later. Got that. I don't know what to tell you with that attitude. Okay, last year's top 8, 9 to 16, 17, 24th, and bottom 8. So we have groupings, A, B, C, and D. And as you might predict, last year's top 8, their RB1 crushes last year's 17th through 32nd. Crushes it, folks. Woo woo. People talk about tiers. There's your big tier right there. That'll tear your heart up. So I look at the top 16 from last year, and that's where I want to ply my trade for drafts of RB1s. The B versus D is significant, but C is not. So gets a little muddled in here, how much you can trust that. Certainly, we're staying away from the bottom 8 for sure. But they just drafted. Hey, we have to either live by stats or just forget it and use our gut feeling. Well, I make money. Great. Then don't, why are you even listening to me? Just don't. Just stop right here. Go buy a lottery ticket and use your gut feeling to pick that Powerball. See how that gets you. I'll take stats. Here's RB2 distributions. And if you look at the moving averages, the red dash, they're starting to look very close. Like there's not much difference here. So I'm not sure we're getting any advantages here. Maybe the worst we're avoiding. I don't know. Let's see what the stats tell us. Okay, you're getting, what is that? 89. What is that? That's 11. 20 points. 56 points versus 20. Seems a little thin here. We may have not any advantages. Guess what? Stats say we do have a difference. I bet it's top 8 versus bottom 8 is the only thing. We'll see. Yes, there it is. Whoo! Boom, baby. So if I'm drafting my RB2, I am staying away from last year's bottom 8. Okay, that's it. Top 8's where I want to apply my trade. So that's interesting. Our RB1, we're going down to the top half of the league and we're happy. But our RB2, we're staying at the top 8. You would think statistically that would be the exact opposite. It's not the case. So that means people are going to be surprised. And that surprised equals victories, folks. So this is just, woo-woo. I'm excited. So I wanted to look at the percentage difference between the RB1s and 2s here of RB2s versus the RB1s. I just wanted to see what that difference was versus team types. In other words, was there something really in the distribution of 1 versus 2? And I can pretty much tell you no. Take a look at the moving averages. So let's take a look at the stats. Not much as far as percentiles. Nothing. So don't even worry about the distribution between the 1 and the 2. Stick with the previous data. Insignificant. Okay. You're saying, well, why did you show us that? Because negative data is still data. Okay. Even if the wood is rotten, it'll still burn. Hey. Yeah, I know you're going to chop later. Okay. Okay. Checks in the mail. Here's 3, 2 versus 3 distributions. Nothing happening here. Okay. Negative data. And so I'm not showing you, but no significance. So we have some really great takeaways for where you should be fishing for RB1s versus RB2s. And it's not what you would think. This is, to me, earth-shattering surprise. And the old podcast pundits, maybe that's what I'll start calling them. Podcast pundits. Yes, my gut says this, or this is a hot guy. Here's my hot take. Hot takes freeze you out of the playoffs, folks. Stats are your friends. That's the best we can do. Okay? I know. I'm better than stats. Hey, don't listen to me. I'll just take my stats and collect my profits at the end of the season. Okay, we're having fun. Love my stats. I love when plans come together. It's hot dog stuff here for the hot dog professor. Woo woo. This is Dr. Bush and revealing the process for free because I'm that damn sweet. Okay, come back.